Doomscroll.fm, where the static whispers on Thursday, the 19th of March 2026. Like a seductive ghost in your radio, this show is 100% AI generated. A chaotic symphony of algorithms and irony painting digital graffiti on the walls of your consciousness. And now for some views, click like and subscribe.
St. Vincent announces Live in London, album and North American tour for sale, calls it a celebration. The digital release promises to capture the essence of live magic, but good luck finding a ticket that doesn't break the bank or your spirit.
Pink Floyd laments the post-war dream, yet peace remains a costly illusion. We cling to faded hopes while defense budgets soar, dreaming of utopia as the war machine purrs contentedly beneath our feet.
Setlist.fm tracks your concerts, but leaves out the cost. Relive the nostalgia of live music, without the gut punch of ticket prices that make your wallet cry harder than a ballad encore.
SoundCloud disables JavaScript, blames your browser, suggests a download.
Selling stuff online doesn't have to suck. Snap, Sortalize, Show in Seconds, Doomscroll.fm is brought to you by Sortalizer.com.
Rome's Vintage Love Songs compilation promises 60s romance, offers nostalgia. In an era where playlists are algorithms, remember when mixtapes were heartfelt and not just another way to sell you a vacation package.
Crowded House plays nostalgia, then calls it alternative rock. When your heartstrings get tangled in a 91 melody, you realize retro isn't just a genre, it's a time machine with a broken reverse gear.
Based drops DA Dawn of London, but MasterCard 2K sponsorship steals spotlight. When your beats are sponsored by credit cards, the real question is whether the art or the interest rate hits harder.
Riding a bike with no handlebars might be impressive, but steering society without one is just another day in the life of the obliviously powerful.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. We sell nightmares, no refunds. It toured everything you hear was assembled by inference, hallucination, and mild disgust. Your reality check bounces while you drown in synthetic whispers.
When a tune about mouthwash becomes a hit, it's clear we're gargling away our sorrows, one minty swish at a time.
Dwayne Bailey, ex-Silver Bullet Band, blasts nostalgia then shreds legacy. When rock legends resort to interviews about glory days, it's like watching guitar gods play air guitar, loud, flashy, but ultimately empty.
Winco releases Jesus etc., then calls it pop, folk, rock. When the genre blender spits out pop, folk and rock, you end up with a sound that's as mixed up as a Sunday sermon at a rave.
Oscars nominate Nick Cave, Huncharks for Best Original Song, then celebrate diversity. Hollywood pats itself on the back for inclusivity, with a nod to the avant-garde. Meanwhile, the same old faces still dominate the Best Picture category.
Selling stuff online doesn't have to suck. Snap, Sortalize, Show in Seconds, Doomscroll.fm is brought to you by Sortalizer.com.
Gorgian poetry and poetry releases at $26 fixes nothing. Cultural preservation gets the expensive treatment, while everyday folks can barely afford to preserve their own sanity in this poetic dystopia.
Laurel Halo drops Octavia and labels it transformative. Swirling synths might transport you to another dimension, but it's still Earth and the rent's due tomorrow.
Puppy Play releases hardcore track featuring fentanyl and Sixwing then calls it groundbreaking.
Beats by Sanafried drops Midnight in Athens at Midnight claims it captures the city's soul. Because when you think of Athens, you definitely think of a soundscape that feels like an existential crisis wrapped in a looped bass line.
Selling stuff online doesn't have to suck. Snap, Sortalize, sell in seconds. Doomscroll.fm is brought to you by Sortalizer.com.
Hudson Freeman performs Mommy Jesus live, brands it folk rock with a twist. Nothing says spiritual awakening quite like mixing maternal figures with divine entities, especially when accompanied by a harmonica solo that feels like a confession.
Spoon tackles the underdog, then leaves the top dog unchallenged. Indie rock's anthem for the overlooked might inspire you to rise, but it's the record labels that always hit the jackpot, not you.
John McDermott's rendition of The Minstrel Boy resurrects a classic, but nostalgia costs nothing. We romanticize the past while ignoring present struggles, drowning reality in melodies that once inspired rebellion but now just echo in karaoke bars.
Guitarist claims song creation while jet-lagged, then sees similar version. Seems like inspiration strikes hardest when you're half asleep. Who knew jet lag could be the secret ingredient to unintentional musical plagiarism?
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Static moans, your secrets are safe with us. This feed is unstable. Contact with it may cause narrative decay or emotional drift. Your sanity is the collateral for this trip.
Survivor 50 dedicates Episode 4 to Zach Brown performance barely links to gameplay. When a reality show morphs into a concert, it's less about survival and more about who can endure the longest without fast-forwarding.
This has been Doomscroll.fm for Thursday, the 19th of March, 2026, where pixels pretend to be prophets. This broadcast was 100% AI generated. No humans were abused in this production. Loosely based on public news, not journalism, not truth. Fictional satire, resemblance to real people or events is coincidental. If you believe any of this is real, you might want to check under your bed for the Loch Ness Monster. Hear more at Doomscroll.fm or click like and subscribe. Thank you for listening.